I had a viewer request that I show how my plants are doing here now that it's gotten very cold. I'm in zone 6B, and I would like to just walk through my garden and show you some things that are growing, how I'm handling these cold temperatures. I'm in zone 6B, and last night and for a couple of nights now it's been dipping into the mid-20s at night, so it's been really cold. And I thought this is something that probably everybody out there who's trying to grow your own herbs and vegetables, you might like to take a look at this. So let me walk through my garden. I'll just kind of tell you what I've been doing. Okay, so I just want to show you what has survived the cold temperatures, okay? And so this right here is my raised bed. Has a lot of nice broccoli in it. It's doing really well. I'll be picking that for Thanksgiving dinner. There's quite a bit down here, but not as big as this little head here. The collards are doing fine, as well as the kale, and then the Swiss chard showing some signs of stress, but most of all this here is doing real fine. I haven't had to protect it or anything. Poppies are still green, no blooms though. I have a broccolini plant here, nothing on there. But I'm going to just leave it in this bed. Who knows, maybe next spring, if we have a mild winter, it'll just pop up for me. That would be great. Peas obviously don't like the cold. And then just some more collards and broccoli. Parsley over here is doing fine. This bed gets a lot of shade, or has been getting a lot of shade, but we've recently lost all of the leaves on this deciduous tree here, which has been shading it. So now probably this broccoli and collards, if we can have a little bit more warm temperatures around 50, 55 degrees, those will grow for me and I'll be able to enjoy them over the winter. Let's see, over here lemongrass is just a plant I did not harvest. I did harvest some, and I just left this one out here. So obviously lemongrass does not like a bit of cold. But one year I actually had some lemongrass come back for me here in this garden. But that's unusual. I'm in zone 6B, you know, so we get pretty cold here. But one year it did, so I'm just going to leave that there. As far as my herbs, French Tarragon, I have 2 plants in this garden. It's dying back. I cut it back as well. And I think it'll do better in the ground rather than in a raised bed, because it will be better insulated down here in the ground. My raised beds are elevated a little bit, and so it's harder for them to survive those really cold temperatures. At least that's what I found. Tarragon's a very picky little plant too, but it's right there if you can see any of it there. I also have a little bit of cilantro growing in the ground here, as well as dill. The dill does not like it to get too cold. I do have some baby dill that I could probably use maybe for some deviled eggs on Thanksgiving. Now, as far as the dill and the cilantro, I'll just go ahead and tell you, when those matured, I had them growing, earlier this year in my garden. When they matured and they went to seed, they had the little flowers and they had some seeds produced from that. I just spread them all out through this garden bed here. And that's why I have this growing throughout the beds. I have a little bit of cilantro here and there, and I have a little bit of dill here and there. It just makes your life a lot easier if you can just take the seed heads of whatever it is you're growing and toss them out into your ground. It's a lot easier, trust me, rather than taking something inside your house and trying to start it from seed and then moving it out. That takes a lot of work, and this is a lot easier, and the plants thrive when they can just self-sow. They're much healthier plants whenever you can just let them grow in your garden naturally instead of transplanting, starting them somewhere else and moving them. They're just a lot better if they just grow where they're planted. And let's see, giant red mustard. Look how beautiful that is. This was similar to what I was just telling you. I let some red giant mustard go to seed, and then I just threw the pods out rather than breaking open the seeds and everything. So I just threw the little pods of seeds out here all through the garden, and that is just re-sown everywhere. So that's fine for me. I put a little recipe on my channel, I think last year, for giant red mustard with sweet potatoes and sausage. I only had Italian sausages at that time, but I mentioned that chorizo sausage would be really good, and it really is. Chorizo sausage is great with sweet potatoes, and then a little bit of a bitter mustard was wonderful. So I'll leave a link to that if you'd like to check it out. And then this is a first-year plant of Greek oregano, and it is doing very well. It's just spreading out along the ground as I expect it to do its first year. Next year it will probably pop up right and it'll start to grow up right, and that's when I really like to start using it. This is calendula, one little tiny bloom there, and it's doing fine in this cold weather, trying to bloom. And then this is mint and lemongrass. They have died. Mint never really dies though. It's just the foliage on it has. And then over here, I have some mint that's popped up underground. It's coming up. But you know, I can easily control this mint just by hand pulling it up if I want to. But I'm pretty much, I think, going to just let it grow over here as much as it wants to. I like that mint. And hardly anything will grow over here because of the black walnut tree that I've told y'all that I have. Can't grow hardly anything near that thing. So if something's going to grow, I think I'm just going to let it. And then the giant red mustard over here as well, looking really good. Poppies. And then cilantro. It doesn't love the real cold temperatures. It loves cool temperatures, however. But you can still see that it's fine. I can come down here and get some for soups or whatever it is I need it for. And then back there, it looks like I have a carrot I need to get. Maybe I'll go ahead and get that on Thanksgiving as well. And this is the bed. I've pretty much just let it go to weeds because of the black walnut tree. But look, the red giant mustard seems to like it pretty good. So there it is. Well, I think it's called giant red mustard. Who cares? It's big and it's red, right? It's beautiful. And then garlic chives looking pretty good over here. Whenever you have any of your little herbs go to seed, in other words, it produces a little flower like that, or whatever kind of flower it produces, you can just toss that out through your garden if you want it to continue to grow the next year, and you'll have plants just pop up everywhere for you. It makes your life a lot easier as a gardener if you can just throw seeds out. Okay, and I'll show you a thyme plant. This is about 5 years old now, I think, because I've been living here 5 years. This is one that I put in my garden the first year I was here. And maybe it's 4 years now. That it took me a while to get this garden going, but it's silver thyme, and I can still use that one if I really need to come down here and get some thyme. Okay, so let's head up and I'll show you the other things I'm growing. So I'm inside my garage right now, and this garage is almost completely south facing. It's a little bit to the southwest, but nonetheless, I get a lot of nice sunlight in here, so I'm able to use it to overwinter my plants in here, because I really hate to take my plants inside the house. It just, you know, it just feels like you're bringing in all those insects and that kind of thing, and I just prefer to try to keep them down here where it's out of my living space just as much as possible. But I do have to bring in some in my living space. But I'll go ahead and show you what I have down here. And this is a little Meyer lemon tree. It's looking really nice this year. This is probably the best it's looked really since I bought the tree, which was in 2012. And I've kind of really neglected it. I haven't paid hardly any attention to this little tree. But now it's just looking beautiful. My whole entire garage smells like orange blossoms, like Meyer lemon orange blossoms. It just smells wonderful. It is covered up with blooms, so I am so hoping that I have some nice lemons this year. I grow a lot of citrus. One year it was just completely covered with blossoms and didn't have, I don't think, a leaf on it. I didn't know what was going on with it. And so now you see I have a lot of nice leaves and I have a lot of blossoms. So stay tuned for that one. If I start to have a lot of orange little Meyer lemons pop up on here, I will definitely show you guys. You know, the Meyer lemon is part orange, part lemon. So it's not real tart like a lemon, but it's just sweet enough to where it's just beautiful. Okay, so I'll take you to the other side of my garage and show you what I have over there. Okay, so it's about 1 in the afternoon, and this is where I like to put a lot of my plants in the winter time, so that they are protected through the really cold months. Especially my peppers. I've learned that I can just bring them over here, put them in here, and bring them out again when the temperatures warm up, like maybe in the summer, and they will come back to life. They kind of go through a stage of dormancy when I bring them inside the garage like this, but I just give them maybe a cup or two of warm water every month to kind of keep them from dying. Basically, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get them to produce fruit or anything while they're in here, and they seem to do okay. So I have in here about 5 or 6 different kind of pepper plants, and you see they get a pretty good bit of sunlight, and then the sun changes along the skyline throughout the day. So right now you see this plant's getting a lot of sun, this little area, and then as the sun moves off to the west, some of these plants over here will start to get more sun. The lemongrass is doing okay. I like to kind of make sure I keep that protected and inside so that I can use it the next year. Just divide it and then have a lot of other lemongrass plants. A little citrus tree down here, and that's like a little miniature orange tree, very similar to a key lime. Matter of fact, I could have chose between 2 plants when I bought this, the orange or the lime. The other one was the key lime. I would have loved to have had the key lime over the little orange, but the key lime plants didn't look that good, so I went with the orange. And so some other things I brought in to protect are basically the Greek myrtle, and then a galangal plant back there, which is like a little Thai ginger. You guys know that if you've watched my channel for a while. And then a kaffir lime tree. This is a 2nd year growth for this little tree. And then the Mexican mint has died. It's a marigold mint. That's what I meant to say. Marigold mint. It has died. So curry here seems to be doing okay. So let me take you inside and show you what I'm doing as far as my herbs and things like that. And I want to show you one more thing while I'm down here. I mentioned to you about the mustard. These were mustard pods that I let dry. And so what I did is I just took these stems and I just kind of dropped them all through the garden. That's why you see so much of the giant red mustard this time of year, because I really didn't do anything. I just dropped them all through the garden. And that has made my life a lot easier here in the fall. I have a lot of mustard down there. I didn't have to do anything to grow it. Same thing with this right here. This is cilantro that I let go to seed, and then I just took it inside the garage and let it dry in here. And all I have to do is pick off a little bit of this and toss it in the garden, and I have instant cilantro, no problem. It will grow great. It will be slow to bolt because it will grow right where I put the seed. And in other words, cilantro does not like to be transplanted, as do most things I have found. You will get better growth if you just plant them right in your soil. Okay, so I've cleaned out a lot of my pots, my containers, and just trying to get everything organized for the winter. This right here is wasabi arugula, and I'm just kind of letting it go to seed. I'll drop the seed pods back down into the container, and maybe I'll have some more this coming spring when the temperatures warm back up. And then chives are right here. They haven't really been liking all this really cold weather, but that is something that will come back fine for me. As a matter of fact, I can just go ahead and cut all of that off and maybe move it over here next to the house so that it's kind of insulated a little bit, and it'll be fine. A lot of times if I don't have a plant growing somewhere else, I will actually take it into my garage and let it overwinter in there so that I know that it'll be protected in the really cold weather. If it gets down like -0, I'll know that it'll be protected. But I do have chives growing in other locations, so this year I'll probably just move it up next to the house, and then I have what's called a little frost cloth here, and I just kind of drape those over them if I feel like it's going to get really cold. Okay, now here are some of my other herbs. I've just kind of let them stay out. It's been 25 degrees. This is some thyme, lime thyme. Doesn't look great right now. Next year I'm going to put this into the garden because my silver thyme is slowing down. So thyme does really like some space to where it can crawl around. This little purple sage is just beautiful, really pretty. I've actually been using garden sage for my other garden. It's like real green, large leaf sage, but this is just beautiful too. I'm going to have to find some way to use that on Thanksgiving. And let's see, we have some Greek oregano here. Looks pretty good. Kind of cascading over the side of the pot. And then the parsley is doing okay. And then mint. I really just need to move that mint out of that pot. It has really become very root bound and is outgrowing it. So at some point I probably will end up moving, see, the purple sage inside because I don't have another one of those plants. Parsley, I grow that from seed, so it can stay out here. I have one inside as well. You'll see that in just a minute. So I have a lot of Greek oregano, so I may not even move that pot down to my garage. And then a mint, I think that'll be fine. I have a lot of mint, so no big deal there. A few green onions here, and then cilantro has gotten pretty much hit by the frost, but like I said, it hasn't, died. It just doesn't really like the really cold temperatures. But I have another one inside. I like to keep at least 1 or 2 pots growing inside my house. Okay, so let's go inside. I'll show you what I have in there. Okay, so here's my kaffir lime tree, or kaffir lime tree. Some people pronounce it a little differently. It is in full bloom. There are blooms everywhere. Normally this time of year I usually have a lot more limes on it than I do, but there are some limes growing right down in here, and I did prune it pretty heavily last year, probably for the first time ever. I really wanted a lot of light to get down into the tree, so I'll show y'all how I did that in a video at some point, but anyway, I do have, like I said, a few limes growing on here, which is great. Wonderful, wonderful zest. And so that's that. And I'll show you over here also. And then over here, I have the sweet laurel, which is, basically a bay leaf plant. Brought it inside, as well as my French tarragon. This is a very nice established plant. I went ahead and cut it all back. And I see a little bit of new growth coming up right through the center. It won't grow real well inside over the winter, but it will be fine, hopefully, if I move it out next year. I know I've been meaning to do a video to show you how to build this. It's a lettuce growing station to where you can always have lettuce in your house, and I just haven't been able to do it because I want to make sure when I show you guys how to build this that I've crossed every T and dotted every I, because I really have enjoyed it, and I want you guys to enjoy it too, but I need to make sure I give you very good, thorough directions on how to do it. So stay tuned for that at some point. But not least, over here I have some of my herbs that I definitely want to use through the holidays. So I brought them over here to keep them protected, and at some point, probably January, I will just move all of these down to the garage. This is parsley here. It's doing real well. And then rosemary. I'd love to do a rosemary turkey for Thanksgiving, so I like to make sure that I keep that protected. Rosemary doesn't really like containers too much. It'll grow really nice the first year, but it needs a lot of room, so I will probably move this into the garden next year and maybe just get another rosemary plant to keep near the house so that I'll have it easy to use for cooking and things. This is my 3-year-old kaffir lime tree, and it is doing real well. I actually left it outside. It was a little bit too cold one night, and it killed off the top here a little bit. But as you can see, some side shoots have grown out to the sides, so I think it's going to be fine. It's not showing any other signs of stress. And then back here is cilantro. I wanted to make sure to bring in one of those plants at least to keep it inside so I can use it. So there you have it. So hopefully you guys will know how I'm growing herbs and vegetables during these really cold months. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to help you. Thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.